My dear friends, we have reached the seventh Sunday in the ordinary time, and this is the last Sunday in the ordinary time before we begin with a new season on Wednesday, Ash Wednesday. And you look around, spring has begun. The earth is waking up again from the cold and death of winter, and you can see in your backyard there is new life. There is a unison of creation waking up again. This is the time of the year when God is inviting all of us, the whole earth, to experience His joy and His love in this rebirth. And so, the gospel today is very appropriate in the theme of new life. It's talking to us about love your enemies. This is an original teaching of Jesus. This is the first time that the world has heard of this language. This is most radical and very original. And you cannot find this in any other teaching. And he started by saying, what was said before, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, until everybody becomes blind and toothless. Because there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of vengeance, but the teaching on love your enemies, this is divine, this is from God. And, there is a saying that says, stay close to your friends, but stay closer to your enemies. We want to see the positive side of this saying. So, by way of outline, we will we'll put this teaching of Jesus in perspective, in context. And the only way to really see the powerful relevance of this teaching is to put it in a situation of crisis. When we experience crisis, whether it is personal, or family, or communal, or global crisis, we will see why this teaching is powerful. So, by way of outline, we will talk about what is a crisis, what causes crisis, and how can we solve a crisis. So, we will talk about the different underlying principles in crisis. And then, what is the challenge that crisis is trying to tell us? And then, after that, we will enumerate the 5 points, very briefly, on how to solve a crisis, on how to handle a crisis so we solve it, towards the solution to a crisis. And at the end, we will see that this commandment of Jesus on love your enemies is essential in solving crisis, and also essential for our survival on this planet. So, what is a crisis? Well, it is described in a phrase, crisis happens when something goes wrong. That is the risk that we take every day. Things go wrong. Remember the Murphy's Law. When something can go wrong, it will go wrong sometime. And it really started in creation. In the beginning, when God made the earth, the universe, and then He created man, and He gave man freedom, deep in his heart, God knew he will mess up. Man will mess up. And he did, big time. Adam and Eve did something they have no knowledge of, and they destroyed something that they cannot repair. And so God has to come down again and start square one, repair the wounded, broken creation made by Adam and Eve. And so, what is the wisdom behind a crisis? You know, this is the risk that we take every day. This is, whether it's personal or global, we have to be equipped to handle crisis. What is the wisdom behind this? A crisis is an opportunity to be stronger and to be more united. It should not be an occasion to create more crisis. If we don't know how to handle it, we will be creating and multiplying crisis. We have to handle it well so we can solve it. And so, number one, crisis as an opportunity. It is a call for unity. We are all called to be united. Why? Because there's only one planet. We all live in this one village. One event that happens in this part of the earth, now with massive mobility and connectivity, affects everybody. It doesn't matter anymore who said what, who did what. We have to get together. People are dying, and there is no solution yet. Many of these people are old people with already health issues, and babies and young people whose immune are weak. It breaks my heart to see innocent people. We have to get together because there is nowhere to go. There is only one planet floating in space. This is our home. We have to get together, forget differences. It's not important anymore. It's all done already. There is a problem that is threatening human life. You know what? The greatest threat of man on earth is man himself. We have to destroy these walls that divide people and get together to be united. Second, share information. It is a crime against humanity to withhold information vital to the well-being and lives of people. The humanity deserves all information vital to safety should be given to all because we are threatened and we don't know what to do and where to go. Third, focus on the solution, not on emotions. The more we get emotional, we do and say things we regret, and the farther we get away from the solution. This is not a time to blame, this is not the time to be judgmental. There is a problem. The experts know how to solve this. Now, issues like disease and epidemics should be left to experts, not to politicians who manipulate information for their agenda that is not correct. The experts know what to do, support them, give them material. There is a solution always. But focus on that objectively. We cannot afford to create more problems. We already got a lot. And then the fourth is crisis creates heroes. You know, people who go out of their way and do good to others, these people should be identified and celebrated and acknowledged because they give us hope and inspiration. These heroes, like in the lyrics of a song, the world can never be wrong because in this world there is you, a good man, a good person. This gives us hope that there are people who are good and they inspire us to move on. These heroes are inspiration. And finally, very briefly, the teaching of Jesus. Do not fight evil with evil. Conquer evil with good. Because good, no matter how small, is more powerful than evil. Trust in the power of good. There's goodness in the hearts of humanity. Trust in that goodness because it will be the goodness that will defeat evil. As witnessed by Saint Francis of Assisi, 12th century, his monastery in Assisi, at the back is a forest. It's woods, and the criminals and vagabonds and lawbreakers, they seek safety in the woods. They hide there. And they have a problem during winter when it's freezing and cold, and they have no shelter and no food. Many of them die. Francis, in the middle of the day, will go there with bread and water and cheese for these people. Without saying anything, without accusing, without blaming. He leaves the food. After a couple of weeks, these criminals would knock at his door for conversion. They want to change. He changed them. The power of good. Do not fight evil with evil. Conquer evil with good. This is the time of new life. There is hope because humanity, men, people, and women, there is goodness. We trust in that. And with that, we will solve our problem. That is the inspiration and the good news. Love your enemies. Why? We only have one village. There's only one earth. There's nowhere else to go. We are all citizens of one village, planet Earth, floating in space. We cannot afford to destroy each other. There's nowhere else to go. That's the end of the homily today. You look very serious.